So I don't know if you guys have ever watched the director's commentary for Endgame. I actually like watching director's commentary for a lot of these movies. I remember watching the Thor original, the original Thor movie, and Avengers, the original Avengers. I remember watching the director's commentary for both of those movies and really enjoying it, really liking it, really understanding a lot of, what went into it. Not to get too far off topic, but like with Thor specifically, Kenneth Branagh was the director, and he talked about the difficulties in Thor because you're like in the real world, and then you're in fantastical Asgard, like where they have like giant chickens that you ride and stuff, and how having to balance the two and go back and forth, but keep it in the real world and make it believable. And it's the same when I remember what Joss Whedon talked about for the original Avengers is trying to balance all these characters. Like there's so many different characters. Well, there's so many different characters in Endgame and Infinity War, but in Avengers specifically, I mean, there were so many big characters, and you had to like give them all screen time and try to find out how they're going to interact with each other, how they're going to, share scenes together. And I thought both like it was interesting to go talk about those and hear them talk about those and see what how they went about it, how they thought about their mindset going in. So specifically last night I was watching the Endgame commentary, just kind of half on, half off. But it got to the point, the scene, I guess spoiler at the end when Tony Stark dies, and so they're talking about that scene, and they're talking more importantly they're talking about Pepper Potts and Gwyneth Paltrow and how she plays it, and how like you know she's there for him, he's dying, and she holds back her emotion and her sadness and is like puts on a strong face, and it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna be okay. And then she waits, she basically holds out until he actually passes away. And I think the exact words is like she waits till he's unable to see her sadness, and then you know that's when she actually lets out her emotion. And I I really understood that meaning, and it's cool, really cool to hear them say that, because I've always felt that. I mean, this is not like a discovery by me, but I feel like women have a different type of strength than men, and it's weird to see nowadays. Now that I'm older, because it was so easily understood back when I was a kid, but now as I'm older, I feel like there's this like desire for women to be like manly strong. Like I think Kristen Stewart talked about it on a talk show once, where she was like getting offered movie roles, but it was like, oh, like all the movie roles I'm getting offered are like these action roles. They want these girl power movies where I'm just going around kicking people's asses and punching them in the face, and it's like I don't think that's really like female empowerment. Just being a man, but changing the man, swapping the man out with a woman, right? I think women have a different type of strength, and the reason I'm talking about this is because that end game scene, the directors talking about it, really made me feel that way, because I felt like that. I feel like that's how my mom has been for me. My mom, and I've I don't know if I ever said this publicly. Yeah, I probably did. I'm pretty sure I did say it a few times, but I I always try to find a way to put it correctly. Like, my mom is the glue that really held my family, our family, together. If my mom hadn't been the way she was, or strong enough to kind of pull everybody, because my family is full of like strong personalities. My dad is crazy. I'm pretty difficult to deal with. My sister, super super difficult to deal with, super opinionated. My brother is a character on his own, and all of us are so strong. Strong, like everybody in my family is super strong, like strong personalities, strong opinions, very hard to compromise, and yeah, and somehow my mom was able to do it, and it's not because she was going around smacking us in the face or punching us, or my mom has this type of strength that's like I see as very like womanly strength, you know? It's the like somehow be able to hold it together. Like this is exactly why I'm bringing up this Pepper Potts thing, is because somehow hold it together in the worst time, like when it's the most difficult, and somehow hold it together and find a way to like keep everything together, and then like maybe later release it later, you know, like, and you cry later about it when it's okay. I want to go into more depth. Like I wish I could just kind of explain everything and give examples right now, but I'm just hit record and just go in with it. So I don't know, man. I feel like it's kind of sad. Now I was talking to, you know, my friend of mine was watching it with me, and he kind of echoed the same sentiment where, you know, it's kind of sad, like there's no real like women like that anymore. At least maybe not in America, or in the West, or that's not the desired view of how women should be. But I mean, maybe it's because I'm Chinese or growing up Asian or what, I don't know. But I mean, like, yeah, it, like I always felt like growing up, I always felt like men and women were different, and the most important thing was for them to complement each other, right? You don't want two people doing the same job, like, you know, you don't need two people who are good at doing the same thing. You need one person who's doing good at this, one person who's doing that, and by coming together, you know, they make like a whole person or a whole working unit, or you know, complement each other so that you can get more stuff done. You know, it's, I mean, that's how I always saw it. That's how my mom and my dad. Okay, I can give you a specific example. When my parents were like doing their business, they would need to go places. They would like need to buy some chairs or tables or something like that. And I remember my mom telling me specifically that it was super way more expensive in California to go buy that stuff than it was in Texas. Some weird thing. I forget what, but so she's like, okay, well, we rented a truck and we drove out to California. But like my dad and I took your dad and I took turns driving. So he would drive, and then I would sleep, and then I would drive and he would sleep, and we just keep going back and forth swapping. And because we did that, we didn't have to spend money on a hotel. We could get there, but pick it up and went direct there, get there, and then came back, and didn't spend money on hotels, didn't waste money on doing other things. We just worked as a team and got all of it done. And like, it's funny because like I always felt like that was the way I should look into getting into a relationship, is finding someone like to form a team with, a good partner, and less like this like lovey-dovey. Yeah, not that there weren't people that I love, or I'm not looking for love now, but it's just I always felt like looking for the right partner was more important. And so it's funny because I feel like that's why sometimes I've had difficulty finding the right person because I blame it on my mom, because she kind of taught me that way, and it's hard to find someone like that. Yeah. So if you have Avengers Endgame, I mean the go watch that the ending sequence again. Maybe watch it with the director's commentary, how they're talking about it. I mean, I always liked the scene. I always felt it a little bit, but to go hear the director say specifically like that's what we were trying to do, and that's how we were trying to represent the character of Pepper Potts, that really made me like kind of like have hope for, you know, maybe somebody's gonna see that and, you know, like, oh, okay, I'm gonna try to be like that. Oh crap, I forgot to give that to somebody. Shoot, I forgot to give somebody. Okay, that's the end of the video today. Thank you for listening, and hope you enjoyed it. Bye.